is in fact open. Ah, we are quick update from last night. The Ryzen 3700X appears to be dead uh, outright. Um, I mean, it went to the point I was even flossing between the pins to see if it contact corrosion on the pins or any gunk providing a clean contact, and not. It's just not posting boot. So, in an effort to find something else to occupy my mind with, other than I just destroyed a. Okay, to be fair, I didn't trust this 3700X to begin with because this was the processor that was active when the Corsair power supply went boom. So, um, that's why I was budgeting for a new processor. In fact, I don't have a backup in case my new processor dies. I'll get over this. Anyway, so in an effort to find something else to focus on, I'm scrolling through one of the City of Heroes forums, and we've got a forum post, how do procs work with trap summons? And the question is, I'm about to start on a new build, but I'm sure on two choices, Touch of Lady Grey, chant for negative damage and Acid Mortar, Fury of Gladiator, chant for resistance, debuff and Trip Mine. And, okay, I've got a Traps Defender. Right here in the upper left-hand corner. I'd say hi, but I mean turning on a chat window. And if I cover the chat window up, well, then you can't see anything at all. So she's kind of just standing over here. We can go ahead and look at her build, and her build is actually up in one of the Mid-Sierra Reborn windows. And the big problem with traps is that it's badly designed from the start. Uh, Long animation times. Basically, you need enemies to walk over the traps for them to work. Now, this worked fine back in the single origin enhancement era when pretty much every single encounter was you have somebody snipe the enemies, they run after your tank taunts when they get within range, and then you can set up. Well, to set up a decent traps field to catch enemies as they come in, and we'll let these enemies walk away, and we'll just do poison trap. 1, 2, 3. Alright, that was about 3 seconds animation and 30-second recharge time. And trip mine. Easily interrupted if you move. 1, 2, 3. Alright, that was about 3-4 seconds, and we can actually go up and look at the cast time through. Make sure we got this window up front. Let's readjust you. Trans Energy Blast. Okay, here's the correct window that we want to look at. Alright, so if we look over a Poison Trap, we see that Poison Trap has a cast time of 2.77 seconds. Trip Mine, where are you? Trip Mine has a cast time of 5 seconds. Seeker Drones, cast time of 2 seconds. Acid Mortar, cast time of 2.77 seconds. Triage Beacon, 2.77 seconds. Caltrops, very quick, 1.07 seconds. Web Grenade, 1.37 seconds. Time Bomb, cast time, 9 seconds. Now, if you've noticed a pattern here that most of these are in excess of 2 seconds long animation times, and that they have really ludicrously set recharge timers. Time Bomb's recharge timer base is 360 seconds. Trip Mine's a little bit more reasonable at 20 seconds. Seeker Drones, not so reasonable at 90 seconds. Poison Trap, not so reasonable at 90 seconds. Acid Mortar, not so reasonable at 90 seconds. Triage Beacon, definitely not reasonable at 200 seconds. Caltrops base recharge 45 seconds. Web Grenade, 4 seconds. So you've basically got a power set that requires you stand still for a significant amount of time to actually place them. The placement is interruptible so that if you move or something happens, another action goes off, or maybe if you even hit with a particular buff or you're hit with an attack, you stop placing the traps. Uh, so it's a traps is a mess. Now, the easiest fix to traps is to just make everything ranged placement. That is, like caltrops, you pick a point, you throw it. And that way you could set traps from behind a wall. Or you could set traps from behind a team and just place a trap in the middle of enemies. You could keep the animation times, but now that you're not actually having to get into fight or wait before the fight starts, this would make traps actually viable. And yes, I'm saying that having made a traps defender, traps is not viable as a buff debuff whatever set. It's not good. It was badly designed from the start, and there's only so much you can do to fix bad design. Now, how I got over it with the defender is I didn't even bother with time bomb. I didn't even bother with caltrops. If you look at the actual UI that I've got going, I didn't even really bother with poison traps, secret drones, trip mine, or even web grenade. They're not in my usual. Uh, they're not in Control Alt 1 2 3 4. Now the poison trap is in Control 5, and trip mine is in position 5. But this is around the same place where things like experimental injection are. And secret drones is really just a click all the way out at its end. Rather, the only three powers that I'm using consistently are the triage beacon, the acid mortar, and the force field. Now, when you are making a build, one of the things to keep in mind is do not include the force field generator bonuses. You may be able to see that on both the corruptor and the defender I have up. Force field generator is turned off. But don't calculate those, because if I take off running, I can easily outpace the force field. And it's about to go splat. And the force field, that's the other thing. The force field also takes damage from opponents. So do not make any plans, any builds with force field generator in mind as a buff point. It's not going to work like you think it does. It's not going to follow you. It doesn't really have a whole lot of hit points. You don't really have a whole lot of utility to buff it up. Now, there is a strong argument here that this is a great place to do sorcery and Spirit Ward, but even if you put Spirit Ward on Force Field Generator, instead of taking 2 hits to go down, it'll take 3 or 4. It's still going to go down the first mob that targets it, period. So Force Field Generator, great power in theory. It's great power if you've got a tank with you, or a brute, or controllers who can keep aggro off of the Force Field Generator. But if you don't have any method of aggro control, don't count on it. It's not going to be there for you. Alright, so that's going some of the design things to keep in mind. Now, my defender's probably not really a good option to look at for making build or a build idea for a Traps defender, and that's because I took Energy Blast. And I can't remember if this was a challenge or this was something I rolled dice to do. I think this was one of the dice rolls to make the Traps energy. And there are some things that how I worked in it. Absorb is a little bit more powerful than Heal, and that it kind of hangs around and stays. And Absorb helps you before, or the Absorb helps you in the middle of a fight, and it helps you before a fight. So I put the Vigilante Assault proc on Acid Mortar, because all I have to do is just drop Acid Mortar, and then I get a PBAOE heal Absorb, which interestingly also affects Acid Mortar. Yeah, that's right. You can use Acid Mortar to buff its own self with a absorb component, which is nice. It does help it live longer in Rigby ship raids. Seeker drones picked up the chance for heal. Now I don't use Seeker blades very often, Seeker drone very often, and part of the reason I did this is Seeker drones has ranged single target damage. Now I've already got Apocalypse spoken for in the Sniper Blast. And so my other range single target damage would be either Power Bolt, where I've got Superior Winner's Bite slotted. Now Power Bolt has a base recharge time of 4. Excuse me. Alright, going on. Explosive Blast is a targeted AoE. Power Push is just a minor. So my single target heavy damage attacks are Sniper Blast, and I probably could swap to Power Blast over Power Bolt. What did I actually do in game? Oh, I had to take Power Bolt because never mind. I had to take Power Bolt because it's enforced. This is not. Okay, so don't have Power Blast. Power Blast would be more useful. So of my single target powers, I just have Power Burst and Sniper Blast. Now, I could swap the slotting in Power Burst for Seeker Drone, but Seeker Drones does not need any knockback mitigation, and that was another consideration. I could go full deep, 6 slots all the way, which gives me that extra recharge time on the Defender ATO, whereas Power Burst, Power Bolt, Sniper Blast, I need to mitigate those with Anti-Knock. So that means I've only got 5 slots to work with, so I either give up that recharge, or Secret Drones was the only realistic place to put one of the Defender ATOs, and by putting it in Secret Drones, we also with a base recharge of 90 seconds, it's definitely every time Secret Drones go off, you will get that PBAOE heal off the power. So, hey, it works well enough. But since you are a traps, you don't really have any direct heals to begin with, and even if you had a strong, high single target attack, and what is their actual PPM here? 5 PPM per minute, so you need 60 seconds divided by 5, and that's calc. 60 divided by 5, you need a power that has a base recharge of 12 seconds. Uh, and that would be Sniper Blast. So if I didn't have to mitigate the Sniper Blast, that would actually be the ideal place to put the Defender ATO just to get the maximum amount of chances per heal every time that you use the attack. How's her? Okay, she's still doing fine. Okay, and going through other things that were made, also that meant modifying Nova, modifying Explosive Blast, and I took Corrosive Vial to act as a defense pry bar. Corrosive Vial basically helps make sure that other attacks land, and it does give me some extra range at the top end. So that was the Defender build. The Corruptor build is probably a little more practical, and we will move it to the front so we can actually see the bonuses as we are talking about them. Moving the Corruptor build to the front. First of all, I took Caltrops, and I took Caltrops A for the ranged defense component because the Corruptor version actually does reach soft cap to ranged defense, and its entire point of purpose is uh, move, slow and move, bring enemies in with Whirlpool, between Whirlpool, Caltrops, Water Burst, Geyser, and let's see. Well, Steam doesn't have a slow component. Uh, basically bring enemies in and control them. Dropping some of the powers are a little bit more, or dropping some of the traps are a little bit more useful with a different set. This is also where you can see I did pick up the Achilles chance for resist debuff on Whirlpool. I did pick up the Achilles chance for resist debuff on Acid Mortar. Now, Acid Mortar is focused on recharge time, and so that's just the quick changes here. The Corruptor version is probably a better one to look at, to think of a build to make, because I'm not having to, unless you're doing Energy Blast, this probably gives us a more realistic example of powers that we could take all the way down and all the way out to the effect. Now, the Corruptor version picks up the chance for negative damage on Geyser, and we split our recharges across Aqua Bolt and Acid Mortar. So that's kind of, if I want to build a defender, the Corruptor build is probably a better framework to start with. Okay. So these are going to be the builds I tossed up. But what I wanted to do, since I've already done a defender, I've already done a Corruptor, is I wanted to look at making a controller traps. I mean, how would that different? How would that be different to look at? What changes would it necessitate? So we're going to do nuclear, and we're going to go with controller, and now we need to something to go with traps. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 choices to go with. As I figure something else on here. Let's hide this window for a second. And there. Okay. And we will do immo. Let's do interact. Decide. Roll dice. We have 9 choices. Okay, let's shortlist what we don't want. Bringing back up. Okay, illusion can no. We have dark, earth, elect, fire, grab. Dark, earth, elect, fire, grab, ice, illusion, mind, plant. Right. Dark, earth, electric, fire, grav, ice, illusion, mind, plant. Did I get all of them? Dark, earth, electric, fire, grav, ice, illusion, mind, plant. Alright, we'll break them off into groups of 3. And we'll do 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 3, 5. So decide. Interact. Decide. Roll dice. Alright, 4. So 4 took off. So we have shortlisted the first 3 to Earth. Alright. Let's do interact, decide, roll dice. 1. So we've shortlisted fire. Alright, now between illusion, mind, and plant. Alright, interact, decide, roll dice. 3. We take plant. So our short list is earth, fire, plant. Alright. And we'll do earth with 3, 4. Fire with 2, 5. And plant with 1, 6. Alright. Interact, decide, roll dice. Interact, decide. Oh, there it went. 6. Plant. Alright, so we are doing a plant. Plant traps. And I might just do an earth traps for the giggles. Alright, so plant. And now we're pulling from the corruptor for our buffs and bonuses. Let's go grab traps. And we have to take web grenade. We're already probably taking caltrops, triage beacon, acid mortar, force field generator. We're taking trip mine, way late. We're taking poison trap, Veilette. And we're taking seeker drones, pretty late. Whoops. Seeker drones. And we're going to... We do have the option of seismic smash and rock armor. So we have ice mastery, stone mastery, and scorpion shield to play with on a controller. Now, and this is where I said I'd look at stone, maybe, because stone traps stone would make a lot of sense. But plant traps earth or plant traps stone could work together. So we're going to right now probably think about taking stone mastery. That means we are going to be moving any soft caps probably very late. Because we won't fly trap will be at 32. So at 35 we could take fissure, which now does damage. We can move secret drones up, and then get rock armor, and then possibly have seismic smash all the way at the end. We're going to move seismic smash up and trip mine down. Alright, so now we have a melee power to work with to boost up any defenses. 30, we're going to be looking at leadership with, not leadership, fighting with weave. And 28 is where we had leadership maneuvers. 26 was an attack. 24 was our build-up. We don't have a build-up, but this is probably where we can think about planting seeds of confusion. We'll come back to that. We took so many of the other powers earlier. Alright, so we're still looking for pool powers. There's force field generator. We can go ahead and slot this in. Oh, wait. I want defense endurance. No. Doesn't have a... I want defense recharge. Actually, I could go just straight defense. Alright, trip mine. Well, I had 6 slot with eradication. Is this going to change anything? Nope, there's no new powers. So we're still rolling with eradication. poison trap. 4 slots, and we are doing Basilisk Gaze. Actually, because it's mid-range, we could go ahead bump them all up. Same with Eradication, now that I think about it. Okay, Rock Armor. It's going to pick up Defense, Defense Endurance, Defense Endurance Recharge, Seeker Drones. I had an Apocalypse in them. And we'll keep the Apocalypse in them. Alright. Fissure, we are currently skipping. Like Seismic Smash, Flight Trap. Now we know we want range defense, so that kind of puts us into Expedient Reinforcement. So we're going to do a tuned Expedient Reinforcement. And this may take up one of our artilleries or thunder strikes from earlier. Weave is getting proc, defense endurance, defense endurance recharge, maneuvers, proc, defense endurance recharge, and we'll turn force field generator off for now. Okay, 14 we had. We may want to move some of these down, but we'll go ahead and slot in tough. Actually, we're going to move acid mortar down to 20. Going to move triage beacon down to 10. We have the gladiators proc. Steadfast. Okay. I had no endurance reductions at all in tough. Not really sure that's a great idea. Especially since you need it turned on for the regeneration to work. So we're going to go ahead and spend 2 slots to give us end resist and end resist recharge. That's because I'm pretty sure we can get away with this because I'm not slotting for Whirlpool. Okay. So Triage Beacon was all the way out with Numina. Now I have Preventative Medicine and Health. So we'll go ahead and keep that in health because regeneration's not going to do us a whole lot of good. Not with our HP cap. We are going to keep Triage Beacon. Recharge like that. Okay. So moving down, 12 was kick. And out a kick in the head. Put a chance for recharge on it just as a proc holder. Okay, moving down, then we had 8. We had super speed. Are we keeping... yeah, we are, or at least for this build, we're locked into either super jump or super speed if we want hasten. Now, that being said, there's not really anything in here that's going to benefit tremendously from hasten. Because as we already discussed, if we look back at the defender for a second, and right, I turn her build off, but at Triage Beacon has a recharge time or effectiveness of 1 minute 32 seconds, and without hasten, she is well very far under the regenerative limit. So we can get perma triage beacon without hasten. So we don't really need hasten, so maybe we're not locked into super speed or super jump. Now, since we do have a lot of attack to require us to keep on the ground, we may want to think about speed of sound or force of will. Now, I already know from Trap's perspective that corrosive vial is very useful to helping mitigate some of the problems. And so we're going to kind of right now be thinking about speed of sound and thinking about corrosive vial, and that kind of forces experimental injection. Now, Spirit Tree, the earliest we can get Spirit Tree is 12. So we're going to put Spirit Tree, and then we need Vines. And then what else do we want? We want the ranged hold. We want roots. We can skip Spore Burst. So we want Seeds of Confusion. Alright, what else do we have to play with? The easiest one to drop right now would be Caltrops. And we can bring Roots down, we can bring Speed of Sound down, we can, oops, yeah, okay, we'll just leave that there. We could bring Spirit Tree is 12, Force Field Generator is 16, 14, 10, 18. We could bring Experimental Injection down, and we want Carrion Creepers at 26, so there we go. Now we have a potentially desirable source of powers. Spirit Tree we're going to go ahead and preemptively fill in with Panacea. And we're actually going to skip the heal and go with all the other powers. Because it's a PvP set, we can go ahead and just +5 it all the way. And I already know that we're into yellow cap. And our recharge time is duration 90 seconds with a recharge of 79.63. So this is, we don't have any other recharges going. This is just based on our current powers. Spirit Tree is perma. Triage Beacon is also perma. So duration 90 seconds, recharge 85.1. So we are actually where we would like to be in relation to Spirit Tree and Triage Beacon. We've got two regens we can just drop. Okay, so let's kind of move on. Is there anything else we can pick up from the Corruptor? Not really looking like, so let's see what our power options are. Carry-on Creepers, we can do Artillery for ranged. So we'll go ahead and pick up that Artillery from Caltrops. And because we're going for a ranged defense, we're just going to run these attuned. We're not going to plus them, because we want a ranged defense as early as possible. Alright, we had a strong ranged in Water Jet with a single target. We may be able to pick this up in Corrosive Vial. Now let's look on Acid Mortar for a second. Acid Mortar, has a single target, as already said. This is probably a good place to look at ATOs, but since we're on a controller, it doesn't get ATOs. So we need to set our ATOs next. Now, Seeds of Confusion, good spot for an ATO. We've got recharge time and energy font and a strong ranged. Or we've got chance for sonic damage. For Seeds of Confusion, maybe a good spot to put the chance for sonic damage. Alright, so that leaves Roots, Strangler, and Vines. Vines is just a long target hold. Duration of 15 seconds with a 240-second recharge time. This actually might be a good spot to think about Spore Burst instead. But we will want to think about Energy Font. So we're going to probably think about putting this in Strangler. And the reason why we're putting this in Strangler is that if you were fighting against a hardened target that you are trying to hold, such as an AV or an arc villain or a giant monster, this might be the best place to have the proc come out from. Okay, so how are we doing on our defenses? We're actually doing really good. We're at almost 38% on ranged and smashing. Now, oh, frick. That brief moment when you realize you're going to have to drop something, because I do need to fit in with speed of sound, combat jumping. All right, now my easiest to drop power is going to be vines. So we're going to slot in combat jumping, and we need 2 slots, so we'll give it proc, and now we're actually going to move tough down and then move kick down, so now we have combat jumping early. We need to pick up 2 slots on speed of sound, so this gives us our... Okay. We have our immobilize left. Let's look at how we're doing. For roots, we're going to go ahead and go with artillery, because it's a strong range defense. And then what do we look like? We're there. We are at range soft cap. And now coming over to seismic smash, I just need to get 4 slots into it. Because if I can get to blistering cold, we're there. What can I move in, down, or around? Slots enhancement, slots auto range all slots. Yeah, you can make this build on live. If we swap rock armor and seismic smash, we can now pick up blistering cold. And we are there. We are at soft cap 2, smashing lethal ranged. Can we pick up some energy? We've got 3 slots. And we've used both the controller ATOs. We could pick up some energy defense with Thunderstrike on Acid Mortar. Fissure, we will leave off for a second. Web Grenade, we'll do chance for hold. Okay. Where can we... Thing is, if I take something from Poison Trap... Actually, we'll go over to health. We'll do a miracle proc. We'll come back up to experimental injection, and we'll do the preventative medicine here. I really want to put something into corrosive vial. Alright, so kind of same thought as we'll do the proc change. We're already using Apocalypse. Could use Winter's Bite. What about Overwhelming Force? That gives us regeneration and a damage buff. So we want accuracy damage, endurance, and damage endurance recharge. And this gives us... What's our recharge time? Duration 50 seconds. That's not a great recharge. Can we change off Seeker Drones? No, they're too powerful. Look at how much damage they do. No, they are low damage. Is that all from the proc? Wow, that's actually almost all from the proc. That's weird. Seeker drones take an ATO. Damage does carrion creepers do? They actually do a lot. How much of that is in proc? I don't have any. Smashing lethal to. Actually, before I go any further, I need to lock this off as an R1. Controller, plant control traps, R1. Controller, plant control, R1. Okay, now that we have both to work from, what I think I want to do is I want to take you over and make you a Basilisk Gaze. Alright, and then we're going to change out Seeds of Confusion. Actually, no, we're going to change you out for a purple. Alright, and then we're going to change Carry On Creepers to the energy font. Where else was I going to go with this? Okay, I was thinking. Changing Seeker Drones to the chance for psionic damage. Changing Acid Mortar to Apocalypse. Alright, Fissure. Alright, where are we looking on here? Okay. Answers that question. Roots. Answers that question. It's good we put. And take 3 slots from here. Swap this to Gladiator's Armor. Chance for resist debuff. And we'll do the Accuracy Endurance Recharge. Damage Endurance Recharge. We're still capped on range. We're still not smashing lethal. This gives us a strong... Okay, if I sacrifice you... Oh, wait. I need these attuned. What's this look like? I'm so close to covering energy and negative. I just need 1 slot. It's like, I know where I can get it since I picked up some knockback protection here. I picked up some knockback protection here. I can lose some knockback protection from tough. I will take roots back out. Alright. Alright, it actually got me there. Window, set some bonuses. What am I capped on? I'm capped on 10% regeneration. I guess it's acceptable to be capped on. One, two, three, 4, 5. Thing is, I really want to. This approach has. And I could swap this for Hurl Boulder. Alright. Fissure or Hurl Boulder? Not a whole lot of single target damage. So this gets us there. Soft cap, smashing lethal, energy negative, ranged. Only soft cap to, well, we're soft cap to energy negative and ranged, assuming all of those powers are attuned. Corrosive Vile's not really doing much, but at least, I mean, it could work. I think this might work. Between Triage Beacon and Spirit Tree. Alright, so we'll go through this on the forums.